Mathematicians will be able to divide decimals by decimals up to the thousandths place. So the first thing we're going to do is label our dividend and label our divisor. Go ahead and do that. Now we need to check, is our divisor a whole number, Miss Yang?
No, it is not.
Okay, so we have a lot of work we need to do, but before we do that, what should we do?
We need to first convert our divisor into a whole number.
Okay, so
How
let's
do we do that?
Yeah, let's rewrite this expression as a fraction. Make sure you're taking notes while we do this.
We're also going to write it inside our division house. So Ms. Patel, what do we need to do to our divisor or our denominator here in order to make it a whole number?
Well, we need to multiply it by powers of 10. If I multiply this by 10, I notice that I only get 3 3/10. So I need to multiply it by again.
And multiplying it by 10 two times is the same as multiplying by 100, so I'm going to do that as well.
That's great. And whatever we do to our denominator, we need to do to our numerator. And whatever we do to our divisor, we need to do to our dividend. Ms. Young, it was really helpful showing all of this work, but I think it would be confusing if we continued solving here.
I agree. Let's rewrite it as a new division sentence.
It's a great idea.
It's really important to note that our new expression is the same as our original equation.
Great, so why don't we write that right below it too? So when we're checking our work, we can come back to both of them. So I will rewrite this up here. And then we can write our final answer over there. So I know when we're doing long division, there's so many things that we need to set up. While you're doing the division house, I can do a checklist.
Okay, great. I need to make sure and create a place value chart for my long division.
Great, and I will list the multiples. I know I don't know all the multiples of 33 by heart, so I'm going to use multiplication.
Ms. Patel, I noticed that you started at 33 times 1.
I wanted to be really careful with my work.
Now that we have some of our multiples written down, we're going to start and see how we can divide 204 6/10 by 33. First, I'm going to see, does 33 go into 2? Can I make any groups of 33 and inside 2? And I know that I cannot. So I'm going to go ahead and put a placeholder above my 2 and check off my first divide on my checklist. Now I can move over to the 20, and I'm noticing again, I can't make any groups of 33 inside 20. So I'll check off divide again, and I'll add another placeholder. Now let me see, can I do 204 divided by 33? Another way of saying that is, can I make any groups of 33 inside 204? Let me check my multiples over here. Well, I notice that my closest multiple is 6, because 33 times 6 is 198. So I'm going to check off divide again, and I'm going to put my 6 above the 4, because there are 6 groups of 33 inside 204. My next step on my checklist is to multiply. I'm going to take that 6 and multiply 6 times 33.
I noticed that we already did that work, so it made it so much easier. 6 times 33 is 198.
going to go back to my checklist to see what to do next. I see that next I have to subtract. Ms. Patel, I have to borrow.
You got this. If you can't get anything from the tens place, where you're gonna go?
The hundreds place.
Great. And friends, if you need to label that place value chart, feel free to do that.
Now I can take a 10
And you'll have 9 tens left.
and I'll have 14 units. So 14 units minus 8,
6 units.
9 tens minus 9 tens,
0 tens.
and 100 minus 100.
100. And I know that's the same thing as 6. So if you didn't write in those zeros, that's okay. Now what?
Now we have to bring it down. So we're going to bring our 6 down.
I noticed that now that we finished our checklist, we need to go back and we're dividing. So I'm thinking, is this 33 divided by 66 or 66 divided by 33?
Well, before when we were talking about it, we said we were making groups of 33, so I think we're still doing that. I think we need to see how many groups of 33 we can make inside 66.
Oh, okay, so that must be 66 divided by 33.
Absolutely.
And I noticed that that must be 2 because we did our multiples right
Oh,
here.
right. Can you circle that for me? Thank you. I'm going to go ahead and check off my divide. Now I can multiply 2 times 33 is 66. I'll subtract. 66 minus 66 is 0. And now there's nothing left to bring down.
And I know that we're going to check our work. We're going to make sure that we have something representing every single placeholder, place value. And it looks like our final answer is 6 and 2 tenths.
Great. So let's write our answer in. 204 divided by 6 is the same. Sorry, 204 and 6 tenths divided by 33 is the same as 6 and 2 tenths.
So now what do we do?
Well, we have to check our work.
Let's go ahead and do that. We're erasing our work. You're not doing that. Go ahead and get started. Think about what strategy you need to use to check your work. So I know when we check our work, we really want to go back to our original expression or equation. And the original one, I'm actually going to start, is the first one. So we're going to use inverse operation here. So
Okay.
what do you think it should look like?
Well, if our original problem was 2 and 46 thousandths divided by 33, I think that that should be equal to our first answer, 6 and 2 tenths.
Okay, so I'm going to rewrite this as multiplication, 6 and 2 tenths.
Times our divisor, which is 33 hundredths. And I think that that should give us our dividend, so we can use D to represent that as a variable.
So I know we're really comfortable with decimals. I'm wondering what strategy we can use to actually multiply and check our work. What were you thinking?
I think that we should convert our decimals into fractions so that we can use area model, because I know that I'm really comfortable multiplying with area model.
Let's go ahead and do that.
Okay.
So I know we have 6 plus 2 tenths.
Like that?
Yep, and we're multiplying that. Can you decompose that for me with fractions?
Well, there's a 3 in my tens place and a 3 in my hundredths place. And I can make that equal to D as well, because I know that those two equations are equivalent.
Great. So friends, we're going to give you a 30-second head start to use area model to multiply this. We're going to get started. Try not to look up here until you have something to compare it to. We're going to use different colors to coordinate what we're doing. We know that about half of you want to use decimals to add, and half of you want to use fractions. So Miss Young will use red with fractions, and I will use blue with decimals. If you need to pause the video and come back and check our work, feel free to do that. Again, red is if you're using fractions, blue is if you're using decimals. When we get our final check, we want to label that. We want to make sure that it matches our original dividend, which it does in this situation. So we're going to label that as dividend. And to prove to ourselves that we made sure that it matches, we're going to go ahead and put that little smiley face. This means that we have our final answer, and we are just waiting for our fraction check.
And I've just found out that my fraction check worked out and our dividend matches.
And I know that if we used a place value chart to put that into into a decimal, we would get the same original dividend, which is read as 2 and 46 thousandths.